Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 o'clock, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. And 8-5, this is 7 November, Charlie. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, welcome to your line. You're granted 158 extra box price, 1200 between teams and local. Also request your unit take outbound methods to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for pause at the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf. My unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 o'clock, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.
All right, we're live. If my audio is coming through, which it should, let me know down in the chat, and then we can go ahead and start this thing. Haven't had any audio problems since I switched to StreamYard, so that's cool. Oh, I suppose you guys are delayed. All right, audio's good. Cool beans. Okay. What's up, everyone? Let's go ahead and get this going. I see you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, so Tony Farrar says, submitted my intake form for Del K. Graham. Hoping to get my higher level review looked at by an VSO. My VSO is useless. That sucks. HR was submitted to 6/23, informal phone call 4/26 due to assist error. Okay, so you have a DTA. More so, they ordered an independent medical opinion, which was completed on 6/12, so you had another CMP exam. Still playing the waiting game. I do know that the VA has received the CMP exam results to fix the DTA error. Yeah, I mean, that's the waiting game. Del K. Graham, once you sign with them, give them the power of attorney, they'll be able to access you and all your stuff through VBMS, and they can tell you exactly where your claim is at, what's the correspondence that look for that, basically anything the VA uses in their system. That's what they can do. Starting to stream off heavy. $10 donation. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I can now say that I'm part of the few, the proud, the 100%. Hey, that's awesome. Super glad to hear. Thank you so much for all you do. Also got a letter from VA saying to claim sinusitis for PACT Act due to my records. To be honest with you, your P&T, it doesn't matter. Sinusitis isn't a serious one that you're going to find in your death certificate. So it's not. If you want to, you can. If not, don't worry about it. It's literally nothing. Appreciate that, Nico. That's awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Joy. We have 4 comments from Joy here. Let's just we're jumping into this thing heavy. All right. Lower back strain. Have a complaint back in 1987 from active duty. Been out of service since 07. Okay. It's a significant time gap. Haven't had an official complaint till this year. And x-rays do show partial ankylosis of lower back. Ankylosis is the loss of use. You experience aches, minor nerve pain down the leg. Yeah, lower back conditions definitely cause nerve damage down the leg. Make sure that wasn't my wife texting me. Just sucked it up, Tylenol. Yep. What else do I need to provide before filing? So you are battling a significant time gap. And what I see there is the VA could argue chronic and continuous, meaning your back conditions and your leg conditions were not chronic and continuous, and therefore you're denied. And we do see that sometimes where you have the in-service event, which you do have. It's from a long time ago, but you do have it. You have a current diagnosis, like your current x-rays of August and 23, and then you have a CMP examiner saying, hey, this is from service. But there's a 4th one that's kind of hidden. It's chronic and continuous. And so that could be a factor. In your case, that's still a strong claim. Although there's a time gap there, it's still a strong claim. Still a strong claim. All right, we'll get to the next. Aiden's Joy. Thank you very much, Joy. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and enter your next 2. Joy with the $10. Let's see. Joy. Nope, that's the first 2. Here we go. Have a 0% rating for asthma. Okay. I'm thanking for filing sleep apnea. Yep. Secondary to it. Have a complaint from VA private doctor and sleep test done in 15 and July 23. Current sleep apnea is mild and prescribed CPAP from VA doctor. How do I go about? Yeah. Asthma and sleep apnea are definitely connected. When I say connected, I mean there's medical literature that supports that. If your service is connected for asthma, that could be one. I'd also look at your other disabilities and see what other correlating factors that you have, and see you're seeing primary care, which is great. Seek healthcare. Everyone needs to seek healthcare. No evidence, no claim. Okay. You are seeking care, and I would actually ask your sleep doctor, right, or physician or primary care, whoever it is that you're seeing, if they would complete a DBQ and in the remarks section talk about your other disabilities correlating to sleep apnea and then asthma having a causative link there. Appreciate that. Laughing Guy, $20 donation, says you demand. Hey, I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. All donations from the stream, and we are starting off pretty strong here. It's never really been this early. I appreciate that. Go right back to the channel just to keep the channel alive. I actually bought a bunch of shirts and TheCivDiv hats. You see here, I'm waiting on that shipment to come in. And once we do that, I'll be pushing those out too. Okay. Appreciate that. Let's see. We got Nico, Joy, and Laughing Guy. Thank you very much. All right. Have a slight cough too, by the way. Evan Almighty says he was 5th here. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thomas Keys says, can you get both bilateral and dominant on the same claim? For example, right shoulder and left elbow and right arm is dominant. Yeah. One, don't look too deep into it. Basically, you're going to get a rating for your right shoulder, and then you're going to get a rating for your left elbow. That's going to give you a bilateral factor. Actually, let me show you what I'm talking about here. show everyone what I'm talking about. Let me share my doohickey screen once I figure out how to work this thing. Okay. Still in Ponton. The only good thing about them is this calculator here. The 33 and a third, man, is this too much? Y'all know how I feel about that. All right. Let's say you got mental health at 50, migraines at 30, whatever. Okay. You have your right arm, your right shoulder at 20, your left arm at 10. That's going to give you a bilateral factor of 2.8. So to answer your question, it doesn't matter in terms of bilateral or dominant. Dominant comes into play whenever you see ratings, right? If it's your dominant hand, for instance, that will receive a higher rating. It doesn't mean that you can't have a left hand disability. It could be 10%. This could be 30%. The dominant is for a rating thing, not necessarily for a bilateral factor, if that makes sense, Thomas. It's kind of a nuanced thing, to be honest with you, that does not matter. Seymour, hey, how's it going? What's up? I see your email. I will get to it right now. And I've been on top of my emails pretty good, actually. I have 68. And so we're moving through. You know, it was a long weekend. I spent some time with the family. We had fun. All right, Super Haram says, tell me something good, Clay. Hey, that's all I do. Give the good news. Steven says, live, Clay. Yep, that's me. Awesome. VA housing education. Thank you for coming. Appreciate that. I will answer. I see your question down the bottom. I'll just go ahead and answer that now. Looking at Title 10 orders. Yeah, so to be real with you, the VA kind of does, and we talked about this in Delkay Graham's stream last week. The VA kind of does reservists and guard dirty to where if you are not on active orders or Title 10, it's not qualifying service, for instance. Unless, now that doesn't necessarily mean if you do a weekend drill and you get hurt, you're going to need to have a LOD, right? Filled out. You're going to have medical records from that incident, and that evidence has to be key, claiming something that happened on a drill versus Title 10 orders. Title 10 orders is a bit different, and that's when you're active duty. But looking forward to working with you. By the way, guys, I'll give a small shout out here. VA housing education will be posting on the channel at some point, talking about VA home loans and lender stuff. Honestly, things I'm not, I don't feel comfortable talking about. And so he's going to be taking that charge. So then thank you for coming. Appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the channel too. All right. Get outside and do things as I read that in my basement. Thanks for the videos. Filed my first claim after 29 years, and first CMP was last Saturday and 2 more this week. Hey, good on you. It sucks that it took 29 years to file that claim. That definitely sucks, but I love to see veterans file the claims. When I had first onboarded with Delkay Graham, there was a World War II veteran that they were helping. And that veteran ended up being service connected, and just kind of blew my mind. Talk about all the money that guy lost, right? I mean, even a 10% rating would come in clutch. Okay. Appreciate that. Supreme79 says, how do I get medical research that the VA will accept as the Nexus Army vet 90%? Ooh, man. This is difficult because that's really where you'll see specialties and IMOs come into play, is they will add the medical research and then use the research for their opinion. That's where the research kind of backs their medical opinion. As far as you submitting your own medical research, you absolutely can do that. And I would use I would use the gov sites, right? PubMed's pretty good. If you have examples of, you know what, there is I'm going to link a video if I can find it. I reviewed a Nexus letter from Dr. Sharma, and I blacked out all the PII and did all that great stuff. But in that Nexus letter, it shows the sources that he used in his Nexus. And And that Nexus or that IMO and DBQ actually got that claim rated in about 8 days, I think. Let me find this video. I'm going to link it for you. Did I delete it? I hope I didn't. That would suck. Most common, 100%, mental health. Maybe I did delete it. Dang, that sucks. Nope, here it is. Okay, sorry to be awkward on stream, but I finally found it. I will link that to you down below. There you go. There's a video. Okay. And there's resources where that psychiatrist pulled his research from. All right. Hellbind says, when they say current diagnosis, is 2-year-old medical records good enough, or should I go get checked again? Yeah, so medical evidence is medical evidence. That's great. Whether it's 20 years old or 2 years old, a current diagnosis is within 1 year. But you have complaints, and if you've been on a treatment plan like medication, physical therapy, maybe you've been speaking with a psychologist from time to time, right? That's a treatment plan. That is solid medical evidence, especially if it's a 2-year time gap of that treatment. So it just depends on exactly what you're talking about. But regardless, you have medical evidence. So that's good. 777 Elevation, what's up? He says, will VA send me for a at facility sleep apnea exam after a home test? Don't know the results, but I'm deferred. No, so if you got a home test, that's the test they're going to use unless it's inconclusive. Then they might schedule you an in-person sleep study or just give you another at-home exam. In my opinion, I would absolutely argue not to do an at-home exam. That's just me, though. But if you're deferred, it doesn't indicate anything except the VA needs more time to decide your claim. And so, not to get too deep into the weeds here, but your claim goes to a rater, and that rater has, I believe, 5 days to make a decision on that claim once it gets there, right? You have to go through the process once it gets there. Within that 5 days, if they can't or they need more evidence, then they defer some of the claims. And then there's an internal review board that will look at deferred claims. And if the claim was deferred and it wasn't supposed to be deferred, then that rater will kind of get in trouble, so to speak. But a deferred claim just means they need more time. It doesn't indicate anything at all. It's a sweet tea, by the way. I'm not really drinking tonight. Had a long weekend with the homies, so. Big Bruiser says, can the VA take away 100% P&T if you don't keep seeking treatment? No. No. So this is what I call a YouTube phenomenon, and people will argue against this, and to be honest with you, I don't really care. Can the VA take away P&T? Technically speaking, yes, if you want to be very technical. Now, is that going to happen? No. There's really 2 instances where it happens. One, which we see way more often than we should, is when the VA makes a mistake and they award P&T, but they got something wrong, so then they take it away, right? And that is rightfully what should happen in the first place. Or 2, there's fraud. Now, I know someone's going to say, but if you submit a claim, it's going to open up your whole claims file, right? Not quite exact, but sure, if that's what you want to ride with, let's just go ahead and go down that trail. Your evidence got you to P&T, so as long as your evidence still holds firm, you have nothing to worry about, right? That's why I always recommend P&Ters, if they have the evidence, to submit for ED, assuming they're taking medication for mental health. Now, my personal belief, I think you should be seeking treatment, right? That's a me thing, but that is up to you and what you want to do. But that's what I totally recommend. Keith Shepard. Keith Shep, what's up? He says, good evening, Clay and everyone. Hey, Keith. Day one right here. I appreciate that. We're at 99 viewers. I always forget to ask people to like the stream. I'd appreciate that. Help me out, please. All right. VA housing education. How does the VA review service connection for National Guard members, i.e. if you had an injury that was documented, but it happened during my M-Day status and annual training? Yeah, so back to your Title 10 question, housing education. Exactly. So I'll say this again for everyone joining the stream. The VA does reservists and guard members dirty. That's my opinion. So if you're not on Title 10 orders, which is active orders, you're basically jumping through hoops. You're going to want a LOD, a line of duty report. You're going to want statements are really going to come in clutch, to be honest with you. You're going the golden ticket is medical evidence from that incident or that weekend, that drill period, that annual training, whatever you're doing. Anything like that is definitely going to help your argument. Yes, you can get service connected. Absolutely. You're just really going to want to be forward as far as evidence goes. And in my opinion, reserve and guard have a much more difficult time submitting VA claims, especially if they're Title 10 or their active duty time is spread out along many, many years, right? Because the VA can always say, well, your back came from your civilian job as a construction worker, right? All right. Juan Rivera says, huge fan of the channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Okay. A lot of time goes into this, and this stuff keeps me going. I appreciate that. I appreciate your hard work. For all of us vets, question, are headaches covered at all under the PACT Act? No, they are not. Now, they are they can be a presumptive, and under an MUCMI, which I forgot what that stands for. Medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illness, MUCI. And I'll put that in the chat for you. MUCMI. Nope. So migraines can be presumptive for Gulf War era veterans under MCU or as a medically unexplained illness. One of my good friends has migraines presumptive connected in that manner. That's the Nexus, right? And so the answer to that is not PACT Act, but could be presumptive for Gulf War era veterans. Not related to PACT Act. All right, LG says, what's up, Clay? What's up? Appreciate it. Hey, I seen your good news on the Facebooks, so congrats to you. My wife and our new baby girl came home today. That's what I was talking about. Had a CMP yesterday for my carpal tunnel claim on my birthday, and I won on Wednesday for IBS. Yeah, please do, okay? I'm hoping your IBS claim at a minimum has medication prescribed for your IBS. And the golden ticket would be like a colonoscopy. And I do believe you are PACT Act related. Laughing Guy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you again. Evan Almighty says, I'm 100 P&T for 3 years. If the medicine they prescribe for mental makes me better, no. No, you do not, okay? It doesn't, especially for mental health. Now, one, I'm not a psychiatrist, but mental health medication doesn't heal you. It's more like subsidies, right? It helps you keep under control. Maybe if you have ADHD, that medication like Adderall will help you complete tasks, be social, whatever that is for you. If you're on medication that helps depression, it doesn't heal your depression, right? It kind of helps you get through the day. Think about it like a cane. A cane doesn't heal a knee, just helps it out. Boone Automotive. My daughter's middle name is Boone. Real thick Southern type. Look at the ratings for sciatic. They do not explain the criteria for the difference between the next higher level, and I've been rated for bilateral, and the pain has increased. Yeah, so for looking at your sciatic nerve, first you want to look at what type of nerve damage are we talking about. Is it radiculopathy? Is it neuropathy? I think one is neuralgia. There's also one that starts with a P. Those are how the nerve is rated, right? Sciatica might be a general code, but it's really going to be looking at what type of nerve damage do you have and how that's rated. Most are radiculopathy at 10 and 20%, but I've seen some 40% rating for nerve damage on the sciatica. So just depends. Laughing guy, what is the radio traffic at the end of your videos? It's all they comforting and brings back. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because the intro, I have everyone's photos. People had emailed me their photos and I put them into my live stream. I still have, I think, LG's and someone else's I need to add in there, and I will do that. But it's fan-based photos that they sent me. The radio traffic, I tried to emulate. If you ever heard a show called Generation Kill, one of my favorites, it's very hardcore Marine Corps stuff. They have the radio traffic in their intro and how they start the show. I really love that idea, so I stole it. I bought some radio traffic for like $2 on the internet somewhere on some audio site, and then I kind of overlaid that. But one of my favorite intros ever. Great show too. Great show. All right, we have more donations. Scott with the twofer here. All right, Scott Molay with the $250. So Scott is in the Philippines. Okay. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. It's the same color as the 10s. So I'm just going to assume it's $10.20 total. Scott, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I want an update on your claims. I know we've been going back and forth for a while now. And actually, Scott, here's a something for you. Ooh, look at that. Hey, Clay, had to buy a generator. 2 typhoons lately knocked me offline. Hey, well, don't donate to the channel, brother. Go buy the generator. Stay safe out there. He's in the Philippines. A proposal to you, Scott. So Scott is, no one knows the process better than Scott when it comes to doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'll give you a shout out here, Scott. He's in the Philippines. There's not that many providers that he can even go to a CMP exam for, or to the VA for, or private altogether. So he's been wheeling and dealing and crack dealing basically to get evidence for his claims. Good on you, Scott. A proposal for you, if you're open for it, I would love to do maybe a podcast online with you in the Philippines. If you're able to do that, send me an email and let me know. I would love to get your perspective on living abroad and dealing with the VA. All right. Sleep apnea secondary to allergic rhinitis. There's no question there, but I'll just kind of talk on this. Respiratory conditions are likely to correlate or cause other respiratory conditions like sinusitis, rhinitis, bronchitis, asthma, sleep apnea. So I know it's there. The question is, does your rhinitis cause your sleep apnea? All right. I was talking to a friend who wishes to remain anonymous last week, and we were talking about sleep apnea claims. And just to be real with you, okay, if you are overweight and obese and you put in a secondary claim for sleep apnea without a medical opinion disputing obesity, the CMP examiner is most likely going to give you a less likely as not and give the opinion. They're going to opine that your sleep apnea is more so a result of your weight gain versus your rhinitis in this instance, right? And so there's tons of little correlating things you really have to look at for sleep apnea. And everyone's situation is different. So if you want Supreme, send me an email, okay, TheCivDiv@gmail.com. And you know what? I'm going to make a little thing here so we can do this. TheCivDiv@gmail.com. Look at this. Boom, shakalaka. All right. Send me an email. We'll talk about sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is not as simple as people on YouTube make it seem. It's actually one of the most difficult claims to connect secondary, regardless of what your YouTube title tells you. All right. Douglas Nabors, hope I said that right. My supplemental for mental health increase was submitted. So you didn't agree with the decision for your mental health rating, so you did a supplemental in 5/14. Was that May? Is it possible to receive my increase without a CMP? Because I've not heard anything yet. It is on a supplemental. I want to know. I'm kind of confused here because I want to know if you did submit a supplemental and then what evidence you submitted for that, or if you just disagreed with the rating given with like a higher level review, or if it's just an increase. I'm going to assume it's just an increase. Is it possible if your medical evidence is absolutely solid, tight shut, if you submitted a DBQ, for instance, depending on what mental health element we're talking about, like if it's PTSD, you want a psychiatrist, that could warrant not having a CMP exam. All right, Cole Crawlers, thanks for the info. Hey, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. I love your name. I got some roots in Eastern Kentucky. Michael Sawyer says, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Appreciate it. Seriously. Without questions, there is no live stream. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Love God says, hey, what up? Hey, Clayton, hope all's well. All's good. Orange, most recent 100%er here. What's up, Orange? I hope that relieves the financial burden on your life. Congrats to you. Oli H, I was graded 100% PMT on August 28th. Thanks for all your help. Look at this. 2 back-to-back. I hope I was a part of that process for you, and I hope you didn't pay for that. Y'all know how I feel about that. WTF says, I just filed for the first time after 2 years of separation, okay? And I'm nervous that they think I'm lying about my mental health like everyone else. Yeah, that is probably a symptom of your mental health, right? Your anxiety, and I'm completely speculating here. Listen, WTF. You just filed for the first time, okay? If you want, I could help you at least. You already submitted your claims, but if you want to, send me an email, TheCivDiv@gmail.com. We can look at your evidence. We'll talk about it. We will email about your evidence, and hopefully that would give you peace of mind. But to be honest with you, you filed for the first time for mental health stuff. I want to know what else you filed for and really what's your evidence like in service. But good on you. I'd like to see veterans submit claims, evidence-based claims. That's how you do it. Happiness says, yippee, hi, okay. The VSO filed the developed claim. Now your husband is uploading more since the VSO got stressed. Okay. Is that totally fine to change from fully developed consequences? If the claim is fully developed, that means you already submitted all your evidence anyways, or all the evidence the VA needs. If you are submitting more evidence, as long as that evidence supports the fully developed claim and it doesn't contradict evidence in there, I wouldn't sweat it that much, to be honest with you. VERA, man, that is a great video topic I'm actually going to take down on my notes. Because you're right. Or this is going to be a huge answer. What does VERA do? I'll tell you what veterans use them most for, and then I'll just add it to my list, so stay tuned for the video on that. So VERA can help you look at CMP exam results. They can tell you where your claim's at. If there's a holdup, they can help you go through that system if you want. But most veterans use VERA just to like get CMP exam results and do quick FOIA requests just for that one exam versus the entire C file. All right, Seymour Breezy. We have a 3-parter here. Bilateral lower radiculopathy, secondary to your upper spine. Got a notification that a decision was made. 31 August. Radiculopathy hasn't been viewable. Okay. Increased supplemental, increased exam was done the 15th. Still showing reviewing. Do you think they combine them? I don't think they combine them. For Optum increases of knees. No, so I don't think they combined your thoracolumbar increase with your radiculopathy. I just think they're. If you all, let me go back to the first one. Got a notification that a decision was made. Okay, that's good. That doesn't necessarily mean that your entire claim is ready to be sent to you at all, right? If it is, you'll get a decision letter. It sounds like some are going to be deferred, to be honest with you, just from what I see here. And you have increases for knees as well and migraines. I really wouldn't sweat it, Seymour, at all. At all. That would be an instance, Seymour, where you could call VERA, right, and say, hey, what's going on here? I got a notification, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Marvin Jenkins says, hello, sleep studies are used to diagnose what conditions? Sleep disturbances. I know that kind of sounds dumb as an answer, but sleep apnea will be the main one, okay? There are sleep studies for insomnia, and it's more, insomnia is more over time than sleep apnea is. There are other sleep disturbances. I had one veteran that had restless leg syndrome, severe restless leg syndrome. That was identified during the sleep study. So tons of conditions, Marvin. Sleep disturbances. All right. Mario Velasquez says, thanks. $10 donation. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see if you have any questions you want me to answer. I don't see any. Yeah, if you want to ask a question, send it. Let me know. But thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Michael Hanley says, currently waiting on supplemental appeal. Can I expect another CMP exam or an outright decision? P.S. Don't use VA Claims Insider. Hey, you said it. Okay. You said it. Hey, so you're waiting on supplemental appeal. Should you expect another CMP exam? I'm going to say probably. Okay. I want to know what evidence you submitted with that supplemental appeal. We've seen multiple times sending a complete independent medical opinion and a complete DBQ from a board certified in that specialty. That's really the golden standard. And that's where you'll see the VA not order CMP exams. Can they? Yes, they can. Tons of factors go into that, as well as the VA doing things that they shouldn't do. That's also one option. Okay. But to answer this question with a blanket statement, I'm going to say yes. Absolutely. JSL, for a friend, at what percentage is VRE available? 10%. What's the best way to use it for grad degrees? Can family use it too? Family cannot use it. Okay. The only education benefits federal from VA ratings is 100% PNT, and that's the DEA, Dependents Education Assistance. As far as VRE, any disability, this is key here, any disability that causes you to not have gainful employment, okay, or hold down a steady job, would allow you to use VRE. VRE is an employment program, not an education program. Remember that. One of my friends is in VRE he used it for his master's, and he's actually using it again for his PhD. He also has some very serious disabilities, though. The first thing I would ask JSL is, assuming your friend is at a low percentage, I'm going to assume that. The GI Bill is also an option as well. I'm using my GI Bill right now from my master's. Up here is my undergrad. Masters suck, by the way, in case you're wondering. Okay. Travis Floyd says, I had the VA deny my independent medical opinion in private from a board certified doctor and for mental health in favor of CMP examiners. Hey, Travis, send me an email. Okay. I want to know exactly what mental health disability you're talking about here. I would love to see the IMO and give you my 2 cents on it. I would love to see the decision letter. And if that was recent, just based off of this comment, if that was within 1 year, without a doubt, I would do a high level review. Without a doubt. But feel free to shoot me an email. My email is right there. TheCivDiv@gmail.com. All right. NO says CNP exam tomorrow for diabetes, IBS, and pancreatic cancer. Any tips? For those, pretty straightforward. Okay. Your evidence is going to be key. For IBS, they're going to ask you about mild, moderate, and severe symptoms. I'm actually going to link a video for you just so you can have this in your back pocket. They're going to ask you about cramping, the relationship between constipation and diarrhea, stuff like that. And so really what IBS is you get constipated and you get all backed up, and at some point the floodgates open up and then you have diarrhea. There's really no clean way to say that, but that's basically what IBS is. Did I not upload that to PTSD, tinnitus, depression, sinusitis, insomnia? I didn't upload it to YouTube. Holy poop. Okay. I will upload that tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Shame on me. As far as diabetes and pancreatic cancer, those are pretty straightforward. Gavin says, any idea how quick submit works? Absolutely. And you're in luck because I got an entire video on how quick submit works, how to upload it. Very, very simple, very easy. You have to register your account and they'll link it to your VA account, so to speak. The whole thing takes about a minute and a half. Super, super easy. But here is that link. Boom. All right. That's me. Seymour says, I'll limit post tonight. Hey, you are good. You can say whatever you want. You're good. I do see your email, and I will get to that. MGuard, though, interest in what you said about vids based on guard. Oh, yeah. Guard and reservists kind of get shafted by the VA. Just to be real with you, it's definitely not fair at all. If you are a guard or reservist and you are injured on a drill, seriously, get an LOD, get statements, get medical evidence from that date and time from that event, and be very proactive in your evidence, because doing this years down the road without an LOD, it's not going to fare easy for you at all. Not at all. All right. Looking at get outside and do things. The younger guys have absolutely no idea how wonderful the internet is to help you through life. Hey, you're right about that. We were forced to either do things ourselves or rely upon someone who was uneducated as we are. Yeah, absolutely. The VA is not perfect. Let me start by saying that. But they have gotten better. Their education programs have gotten better. There's DoD Transition Assistance Program. You have the internet. That Reddit page, I'm a huge fan of that Reddit page. If you haven't seen my video on that Reddit with the master condition list, you're going to want to watch that, okay? On my channel, most popular video. It's hands down the one resource you need. But absolutely, I totally agree. Gavin says, I actually did a bunch of claims before I used Quick Submit. I got rated for a bunch of stuff before my documents were uploaded. That's okay, Gavin. So looking at service treatment records, the VA is obligated to get those, right? And so if you, let's say you just left the service today, you have your STRs and you give them to the VA, doesn't really matter because the VA is going to reach out and get them themselves, right? They're not going to take your word for it that you gave them all your records. It's a much, much more than that. But to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. All that happens in the background. If you are using Quick Submit for evidence, you want to upload specific evidence. So if I'm doing a lumbar strain claim, a lower back pain claim, I'm going to go through all my records. I'm going to word search back. I'm going to pull everything for lower back and submit that versus my entire record. That's really what you'll use Quick Submit for. Love God says, do I need a DBQ and a Nexus for mental health increase? You definitely don't need a Nexus, okay? DBQ is optional. I would not recommend it at all, especially if you have been seeking treatment and you had the symptoms, okay? I'm also going to link a 70% video for you on mental health. It's one of my favorite videos I ever made. It's solid. It's not something that you really want to mess around with at all. But I wouldn't recommend a DBQ. The only time I would ever recommend a DBQ is if that increase will get you to P&T, and you just don't want to deal with it. But 9.9 times out of 10, not going to recommend that at all. Can you go directly to a physician and ask for a diagnosis? You can, okay? Whether that's your primary care at the VA, I always, seek treatment, right? If you are a fan of this channel, you know that's the number one thing you need to do is seek treatment. 2, be transparent with your provider. They are not, your VA provider doesn't care about your benefits. They care about treatment and healthcare, right? That's what their job is. And so you can be transparent, say, hey, I have symptoms of IBS. I'm trying to submit a claim. Is there a way I can get diagnosed? And be open about that, okay? And then that will lead into what are your symptoms. You'll have that conversation and go on from there. Now, to be real with you, that conversation is much, much easier and faster to a diagnosis if you're using private insurance. But the VA can do it. In my experience and opinion, the VA is a bit slower to actually do that. Next Level Cash, what's up? Appreciate that. Brock Lloyd says, nothing important. Just need a shout out to the Big Blue Nation. Here we go. Here we go. Just football season just started. Update. So in my recent CMP exam, about 3 weeks since, still in evidence gathering. I think I have that same thermos for UK. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Evidence gathering sucks. It's going to be a while, to be honest with you. Tons of claims in backlog. Andres Luna says, me at home. Oh, I'm sorry. My at-home sleep apnea found me to have severe obstruction, and they are doing a follow-up and clinic exam in October to determine what course of action to take. You'll probably be prescribed a CPAP. I don't know how severe your severe obstruction is. There is a opportunity for 100% on sleep apnea alone. Extremely rare, okay? But at a minimum, you're going to require CPAP, and if that service is connected, that's going to be 50%. Do you have a connection for resumes for VA positions? I don't know about resumes, but I do have a lot of friends that are up in the system at the SES level, to be honest with you. Try to get a position since 2029. Need some solid guidance. I'm going to assume you meant 2019. Schedule A, 30% spouse. Okay. I know they're hiring like crazy. I also know they're hiring outside like crazy. So if you are going to apply, now's the time to do it. If you want to send me your resume, please do, right? Not anything to do with the channel at all, but I have written a few resumes for my friends. We had the same experience, so I could really spot check that for you. Please keep in mind, I'm just some dude in his basement. I don't recommend that at all. Why did you recommend to submit claim for ED? Yeah, exactly. So the reason being is because if you have the evidence, okay, you're awarded P&T, I'm going to assume that was sometime recent. You're taking medication for mental health, submitting that ED claim sooner rather than later, even if you are at P&T, is the way to go. Okay. If you're housebound and you want to submit a for SMC, do it. Okay. Do not let YouTube titles and thumbnails tell you your P&T is going to be taken away. Right. That is so extremely rare. I'm honestly tired of seeing it. Technically speaking, are they correct? Yes. Okay. But it's absolutely bananas. If you're not committing fraud, if you have the evidence and you rate an SMC, submit it. Get properly rated. Okay. That's why I would recommend that. I know that's against the grain. I know a lot of people would disagree with that. But I'm a big fan of, if you have the evidence, why not submit it? Okay. Now, if you're, just to be real, if you're bullshitting, okay, and you're afraid to lose your P&T that way, that's a different story. I want to know why you're bullshitting in the first place. But if you have the evidence and you rate the SMC, submit it. Michael Sawyer says, I am 54, just got my initial claim approved. It will come in effect. It's not how it will, it just will. Why be scheduled for fall exams? It depends. Since my conditions are not static. How do you know they're not static? Because you just got approved. Did your VSO or attorney tell you they're not static? But the 55-year rule, regardless, the 55-year rule will come into play. I'm actually going to link a video for you on that too. Where is that one at? But that directly applies to you. I would definitely give this a peek. I pull up the 38 CFR and talk about the 55-year rule right then and there. You're definitely going to want to take a look at that. Short answer, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Will I be scheduled for fall exams since my conditions are not static? It depends what conditions we're talking about. Okay. Lewis Chairs. Sorry, butchered that one. Luis. Post-deployment health assessment, PDHAs are absolutely the golden ticket. If I complain about headaches, chronic cough, I got this through C-File medical records. Yeah, if you have complaints of headaches, migraines, and a cough, I don't know what your cough is related to. That's a symptom of something else. But a PDHA is the standard for medical evidence. That's solid. Okay. You could at least submit migraines direct. The chronic cough, I'd be interested as to what that could be related to. But if you have a diagnosis that involves a cough as a symptom, then all of a sudden that medical evidence becomes key. Lady Premier, always. Let me actually check the most recent chats and see if anyone's talking baloney about me telling people to get SMCs. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Sorry. I got my mental health CMP video tomorrow. Okay. Any advice? I got a whole video for you, and I'm going to link that for you too. It's a long one. I'll summarize it here, but definitely go watch it. They're going to talk about pre, during, and post-military service. So your childhood, then they're going to talk about your military service. That's the bulk of the conversation. And then what happened after service. If we're talking about PTSD specifically, you're going to want to be very specific as to if you have reoccurring thoughts, nightmares, night terrors, things like that. You're going to want to be really specific. Your claims are for, you also have TMJ and headaches, anxiety. Oh, you have TMJ, migraines, and anxiety service connected. Okay. Sleep disturbance and lumbar strain secondary to bilateral knee. Yeah, so you have a mental health CMP. I'm assuming you put in for an increase then. And that, I'm just going to link both videos just in case. Just in case you're claiming another condition like PTSD. And so this is going to be mental health CMP exam. Okay, I want you to watch this. Oh, dang it. And this is going to be 70% mental health rating. I want you to watch these two videos at some point before your CMP exams. And this is the absolute best advice I could possibly give. All right. Seymour says migraines, headaches, 38 CFR, 313, 3317 reference. Okay, dope. I think we were talking about the unexplained illness. If migraines are presumptive, which they can be. Daddy Chill. I love that name. If I'm told I have severe anxiety and depression and I'm at 70%, should I submit for an increase? So technically speaking, severe anxiety and depression does fall in 70%. I would say if those cause you to keep gainful employment, that could be a reason you would do an increase. And just to be real with you, 100% for mental health is not easy to obtain. Okay. There's a TDIU route as well. But if you can function, and when I say function, I mean go to work and come home. I don't think that's the battle that you want to choose. Now, if that is you absolutely can. You're going to need medical evidence. 100% rating for mental health is a SMI, which is serious mental illness. And serious is understated there. It's very serious. If you see someone with 100% mental health rating, they have some very, 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 very severe symptoms of that mental health. But severe anxiety, depression does technically fall under 70%, sometimes 50%. Gavin says, I just did my mental telehealth last Monday. The questions were okay. I think I screwed up at the end when I was asked about my depression, seasonal or all the time. I was like, I don't know. Bad answer. I don't think I focus on social impairment. I think saying I don't know, bad answer could indicate social impairment, to be honest with you. So when you look at depression, let me get this off. There's like these cycles, okay? I'll take this off too. You find yourself in these cycles, right? You have all this stuff to do, but you don't do it because you're depressed, and then more stuff just piles on, but you don't do it because you're depressed, and now you're more depressed because you have so much to do, and you didn't keep track of what you were supposed to do, and then you have this continuous cycle. And sometimes you'll do things and get caught up, but then that cycle will progress again. That's what you're referring to here. Very, very common. It's also common to say you don't know. So I wouldn't blanketly say saying I don't know is a bad answer, so to speak. If approved ED, you'll get SMCK, which give you 128. Yep, along with there we go. Bobby D's, I love that name. We have a super chat. We'll get back to you, Bobby D. Secret Sauce says, how do you file for TDIU if you're at 90? I don't see an option for that. There is a TDIU claim, okay? If you just search TDIU VA, it'll pop up. You're going to click a billion links. You're going to want to have a solid work history showing that it's difficult for you to hold gainful employment and your disabilities are a result of that. It's much more than that, but that's the quick blanket answer on that. Secret Sauce, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, let's get back. Bobby D says, can I still add more new and relevant evidence after I submit a claim? Yes, you can. Waiting 3 months. Okay, it's a little different. To see if a device will help the pain in my feet, so I might have more evidence to submit. Hey, looking at 3 months, to be honest with you, I would not submit that. You could if you wanted to. Are you in the evidence gathering stage? Oh, Bobby D's, I want to know if you're in the evidence gathering stage. And if you are, you can submit that quick submit. And you're going to want to do that as soon as you possibly can. If you're past the evidence gathering stage, I would wait. You could do a supplemental appeal and disagree with the decision if the treatment for your feet would raise your rating. 128.62. I assume that's talking about SMCK. All right. Don Clark. Noted pre-service flat foot, mild, no complaints during service. Okay. Currently have plantar fasciitis. Can this be claimed as aggravation 28 years out? Okay. Significant time gap. Can it be? I would explore, because you're looking at flat foot, which is pes planus, okay? And plantar fasciitis is policeman's heel, I believe, the slang term at least. Do you have any complaints in service about plantars? One, if not, I think aggravation would be the way to go. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a difficult claim. That is a difficult claim. The evidence is sketchy at best. Scott, I appreciate that. I saw your comment saying it was about $12. I appreciate that all the way from the Philippines, Scott. That's awesome. Please send me an email if you're open to do that interview style. No one is proactive about getting evidence more than Scott is. That I can attest to. David says it's more than 160 days and only one CMP exam of about 8 conditions. I've been out for 27 years. I think you're referring to another comment. I just don't know where we're at. Okay. Calypso, to you, what's the typical rating for PTSD MST? Yeah, so MST isn't rated at all. It's like think of it as a special claim, and the rating is going to be the general rating for mental health, excuse me. And so how that's rated, and I'll pull that up and show you right now, actually, if I can figure out. All right, we're on Hill and Potton right now. Let's look at the Googles. Teaching you how to fish here, so pay very close attention. Looking at, is this popping up? Dope. We're looking at 38 CFR, ECFR. Okay. Mental health disorders, scroll down, general rating formula for mental health. This is how your MST claim is going to be rated. So it's 0, 10, 30, 50, 70, or 100. To answer your question about most common, I can't answer that. I'll give you a guesstimate, and it's completely off a guess and on zero data at all. I would say 70 or 50. MST is something that's extremely serious. I hate seeing MST come up in the chat because it just sucks. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's not something anyone wants to talk about. But I would say 70 or 50, and that's off of zero data whatsoever. Please follow through and seek care on that. All right, Secret Sauce says, do you ever wonder how people can retire from the military? It just blows my mind that people can go 20 years. Yeah, so that's the thing, Secret Sauce, is they do have injuries. I'll tell you background on myself. I'm sure it's a little easier on like Air Force or administrative positions and stuff like that. No dig on those people, by the way. But I was infantry my first 5 years, and I can tell you this: we call them like a fleet dog, someone who just stays in the fleet in a Victor unit, which is a deployable. And this was during Iraq-Afghan time frame, and just does 7, 8 deployments throughout their career. They might be a drill instructor, that might be a recruiter. Then they come back after that, then go straight back to the fleet and deploy 3, 4 more times. It's wild, dude. Some of my seniors are like Captain America to me. And they do have injuries. They just don't complain about it. But once they get out, generally speaking, those dudes are going to have 100% P&T without even blinking. But yeah. All right. Richard Cranium says, why is 100% asthma different than 100% asthma under COPD? I'd have to look into that. They're both respiratory conditions. but it's how it's rated. And there's an FEV, if I remember correctly, on how that's rated. And so to be honest with you, all respiratory conditions are more than likely, not always, going to share the same rating. And so you can have asthma under COP D with FEV ratings at 100%. It's fine. To be honest with you, none of that matters at all. It's just a rating. If that's you, that sucks. That's a very serious condition as well. Seek treatment on that. Action Pack Kool-Aid, what up? Man, I need that bilateral radiculopathy diagnosis. Yeah, the bilateral ratings in your legs, especially if you're at like 20% each. It's a solid bilateral factor that can help you out overall, for sure. Philip Castro says you're 67, you have 10 ED was denied, you have 10 different denials. That does suck. Just to be real, feel free to send me your decision letters, Philip. I'd love to take a look at those. What you were denied. I'm curious as to what your service connected for. And then you know what? I'll link a video right now. I have a template for people to fill out. And if you fill this out, it helps me out a lot. If you don't fill it out, I'm going to ask you the same questions anyways. Where is it? Here we go. The cheat sheet. I've been working on my thumbnails, by the way. So if you like my new thumbnails, let me know, because I stayed up all freaking night, literally till about 5 a.m. last night. I can be hyper obsessive, so thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Jerry says, are there any drawback to withdrawing a claim in order to regroup and submit a claim with new evidence? Not at all. Not at all. If you truly know your evidence is poop, instead of waiting for the denial, you can just withdraw the claim if you want. Pull it back, gather your evidence, and then submit. No harm in that at all. When did you submit the claim? Because if you just submitted it and you are able to get the evidence, I will just upload the evidence yourself via quick submit. I received an IMO and Nexus letter from Dr. Sharma. It was very professional. I submitted my claim and I'm waiting for a decision. How long will it be? Man, no one can answer this question at all. But I'm assuming you have the diagnosis, you have the in-service event, you have the Nexus letter, the IMO, and the DBQ. That's usually going to come with the DBQ. That is a fully developed claim. I've seen IMOs from Dr. Sharma go less than 8 days. Okay. This video I posted earlier, that claim was decided in about 8 days. And that is a truly fully developed claim. Okay. Okay, whatever. But yes, can't answer that, but I hope it's soon. Keep me updated on that. Juan says, does allergic rhinitis differ from chronic rhinitis? In regards to a PACT Act claim, allergics not covered. No. Rhinitis is rhinitis, right? You don't want acute. That's an issue. Chronic, allergic, you're fine. Rhinitis is rhinitis. Don't worry about that at all. As long as you have the current diagnosis, and you meet the time criteria for PACT Act, just submit the claim and literally click submit and forget. Just forget about it. And by the time you remember, it'll be a whole new day and you'll be service connected. Joe says, I've been going to my appointments to build evidence for denied claim. Perfect. We love to see that. Healthcare is important. But they are scheduled so far out. Yeah, that sucks. I'm going to assume you're using VA healthcare. I was waiting for a call to schedule one. Got called 1 week later. Scheduled 1 month out. Yeah, that definitely sounds like VA healthcare. That's the downside. You know, I just made a video on private insurance and VA healthcare. I'll actually link that for you in the bottom. I'm doing a lot of linking today, more than usual. But there's benefits to VA healthcare. One, it's free. There's definitely disadvantages. The VA healthcare, which is time consuming, right? The private sector is always the way to go. The private sector is always going to outbeat the government all the time. So if you have access to private insurance, I would explore that route. If you don't, you're doing exactly what you need to do. Dig in, stay proactive, stay motivated on your treatment, gather that evidence. That's what we like to see. And eventually you will get the diagnosis or whatever it is that you're looking for. Carlos says, it's been almost 3 years waiting on VA judge. How much longer? I can't answer that at all. I want to know if you have an accredited attorney. When you're going in front of a judge, that is the one time I would recommend an attorney. Actually, I'm going to give this guy a shout out. He doesn't want to work with me. I don't know why. But whatever. I will give him a shout out. Dang, what was his name? Hold on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Here we go. This guy does not want to work with me. Whatever. That's fine. I'll at least give him a shout out. If you contact this person, let him know I sent you. I'd appreciate that very much. But to answer your question, I can't answer that at all. Okay. What I can do is tell you that I've spoken to this guy. He is very good. Okay. He understands the process truly. And he can help you out every step of the way. He's also not a fan of claims consulting companies. Ding, ding. That's why I want to work with them. But if you reach out to him, let him know I sent you. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm trying to build a team. I want an accredited attorney on that team. It'd help me out. Okay, anyways. Marcus says, what evidence do I need to submit to increase a 0% migraine? Yeah, so everyone for migraines. This is a very common claim, so listen up here. If you are submitting migraines, here's what you need. You're going to want a migraine log showing, I would argue 6 months, but as long as you can make it, that's great. But no less than 6 months is my opinion. Show your prostrating migraines. You want to then take your migraine log, show it to your primary care, get prescribed medication, show your migraine log and the medication you take in that log, do a personal statement detailing your migraine log and your symptoms of a prostrating migraine. And those three are the big ticket items for migraine claims, right? A migraine log, sharing it with your primary care, medication or a treatment plan, okay? I've seen some people get Botox from migraines actually, and then that personal statement detailing your symptoms. That's the evidence you want to submit for a migraine. Ronnie says, if you claim dependence, do you run the risk of getting a rating reduction? No, you don't. This is another YouTube phenomenon. I wish people would stop talking about it on YouTube, but no one listens to me. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. You're good. Don't worry about it. BR, would you recommend an informal conference call and an HLR? BB, I would have to know exactly what your claim is, why you've disagreed with it, what the reasoning why you disagree with it, okay, what you're going to reference in that call. Prior to answering that, I have no context to your claim at all. Douglas says, yes, my depression supplemental at 30. I didn't agree with it. Oh, okay. So I submitted a private DBQ and statement of claim for my daughter. Yep, there we go. What's the average timeline? Brother, 120 days. And you could say 150 if you wanted to give you a buffer. That's what I would say. It could also be 9 months. Might run upstairs and get some more sweet tea. I'm probably going to be streaming for a while. Okay. Action Pat Cooley. I love that name. I'm looking to get bilateral second to lumbar strain. If I have no evidence or diagnosis, can I just submit? No, I mean, can you? Yes. I wouldn't recommend it. You're really relying on the CMP examiner to do their due diligence and look at your nerve damage. That's what I assume when you mean bilateral secondary to lumbar strain. It's a bilateral sciatica, like radiculopathy in each leg. To be honest with you, I would do the intent. That's what the intent to file is for. Okay. It's not so you can have time to submit your claim. The intent to file is so you can get evidence. The VA says, hey, instead of waiting on your back pay, or instead of waiting to submit the claim when you have your evidence, do this intent to file, gather your evidence, help us out, gather the evidence, and then submit the claim. That's what the intent to file is for. I would recommend you use it as intended. At a minimum, get a complaint from your primary care or to your primary care about your nerve damage in your legs. Really, I would want to see x-rays or an MRI. That would be like the golden ticket there, but at least a complaint, man. At least. Now, you can absolutely disregard what I said and submit it anyways. That's perfectly fine too. But in that instance, you will be relying on the CMP examiner, which isn't always good. It's not always bad. Robert Rodriguez, the $4 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I also started memberships. Let me make sure you don't have a question for me. If you have a question, put it up in the chat. Robert, I'd love to help you out. I don't see any right now. I just started memberships. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. You don't get anything if that's what you want to do, but it's another way to help support, so I appreciate that. Okay. Hellbind says sleep study for narcolepsy, idiopathic hypersomnia. Yeah, it sounds like it sucks, to be honest with you. I don't see a question in here. Your next comment is my GI Bill expired. My PTSD hasn't. I don't know what your question is. Let me know if you have one. Drone Outlook says, just discovered your channel. Welcome. You love it. I'm glad it helps. I'm glad you love it. Thanks for the commitment to veterans. Appreciate that. I got rated 20 years ago and now having more issues, so going through the claims process again. Secondaries are going to be your friend here. Send me an email if you want a second pair of eyes on that. I'd definitely love to help you out. And I'm also actually going to link a video for you in the chat. Lots of video links today for some reason about secondary claim lists. You're going to want to, it's a link on a Google Drive. As I make updates to it, you will see those updates. Someone else also has updates. Someone else can also make updates. I'm not going to tell you who because they wish to remain anonymous, but they are very good. Very, very, very good. All right. We got something. We got some action. S. Johnson, new member. Hey, you are the first. Write this down, Johnson. You are the first member of the channel. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate that. To be honest with you, I don't know what that means. It's my first day doing it. But it's funny because it says, it told me that you're a Lance Corporal because that's my first rank I made. I appreciate that, brother or sister. Thank you very much. If you need anything, please put it in the chat. All right, let's go back to where we were, which is up here. LG says, yeah, bro, went to Iraq. Wrote a statement, recently had colonoscopy. All right, on your IBS and on 2 medications, if granted 30%, I'll be at 100% mark. LG, you're going to, I'm going to upload this IBS video. I thought I did. Apparently I didn't. It's on my TikToks. I'm going to upload how the VA rates IBS. You had that question. Someone else had an IBS question. Look at it. 30% for IBS is going to be severe. And it's looking at the relationship between constipation and diarrhea and cramping. So constipation is gonna have cramps, and you're gonna really feel cramps. It's gonna suck. Cramps from IBS are absolutely horrific. But if you look at the relationship between constipation, so you'll be constipated, you'll be backed up. At some point, you'll have all this diarrhea. It's disgusting. There's really no way to speak about it in a good term or a good tone. And then you'll have other symptoms like soreness on your fourth point of contact and things like that. So prepare for that CMP exam, especially if that'll get you to 100. Jim Road says, I have 4 claims waiting for rating. If I file a new claim, will it delay the rating of the 4 current claims? Possibly. I want to know when you file those other claims. Generally, what will happen if it's relatively soon, the VA will cut a decision. That's what they'll call it. But they'll just take, they'll take your new claim and throw it into your other 4 claims, making it 5. Ray McCarty said, that does not surprise me. My IMO rated at 70, CMP examiner said 50. Hey, you have an argument. If you have an independent medical opinion and a DBQ, especially if they are a psychiatrist, I'm assuming this is for mental health because you're talking about 70 and 50. If you have a psychiatrist completed a DBQ and you have the evidence for 70, I'd do a higher level review, to be honest with you. If it's within 1 year, if it's not, you can file for an increase. Next level cash. I hate how StreamYard doesn't show it, but what I am going to do is go to YouTube and see it to see what we're talking about. Oh, it's the emoji things. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Next Level Cash. Appreciate that. Always appreciate you in the chats. Thank you. MK Ultra Vibe says, I had emailed you my denial. Okay. Did I respond to that yet? I have 60. Actually, just got a ton more emails just from the stream. I'm at 74 right now. I had emailed you my denial. Basically, was missing medical records from 98 to 2012, but some states destroy records after 7 years. That sucks. So what can be done about that? That's one of my causes of denial. Plus, the VA shows their examiner opinion over my IMO. I have tons of questions about this because you did have an IMO. As far as what can be done about your missing medical records, I mean, that sucks, to be honest with you. Statements are really going to come in clutch there. And are these private medical records? Because you said the state, unless you're guard or reserves, that might be a little different. But let me know on that. You did email me. I will get back to it, absolutely. All right, Zombie Shooting Sports says, the National Archives has said twice that they don't have my medical records. What is my next move to get my medical records? I was in the Navy from 89 to 93. Yeah, did you submit any claims? Because when it comes to older medical records, the VA is going to have the easiest route to get those service treatment records, okay? I'm assuming you're rated for something, and that would come with a C file, and your SCRs would be a part of that. So that might be the best way to go, doing a FOIA request for that. The National Archives, you can also go to your service, your component, the Navy, Air Force, your branch, and there's ways to request your service treatment records through that branch specifically. All right. Whoa, we got a smackaroo here. Chris Yates, $50. Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's go see what you want to say. I see the super sticker. Thank you so much, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Let me scroll up just to make sure you didn't ask a question that I may have missed. Chris, man, thank you so much, dude. I don't even know what to say. It makes me feel a little awkward, to be honest with you. I definitely appreciate that. You know what? I don't see a question from you, but what I will do is give you a little shout out here. Chris Yates. Thank you so much. Exclamation mark. $50 donation. Save it, and then we'll leave that up for a minute. How about that? How about them? Chris, thank you very much, brother. Seriously, I definitely absolutely appreciate that. Oh, and MK, just because we're down here. Yeah, I said the IMO wasn't great. It was okay, but not great. Filed HR, but looking for lawyer representation now. Hey, MK. I just, here, look at this email, okay? Derek at stoneroselaw.com. The dude's solid. On my life, he's solid, okay? I've looked at some of his comments and his thought process. He's not a fan of for-profit companies at all. That's why I want to work with him. Reach out to him. Please let him know that I recommended his email. If you are looking for a lawyer, that's who I'd recommend. I'm trying to create a team. He doesn't want to be on it. I'm trying. Help me convince him. Okay. Chris Yates, thank you. I see that. Simplify. Appreciate that. All right. Back to our regular programming. Lead exposure, 1968 Artillery Marine Salt Dog. What's up? Long-term dealing with insomnia and anxiety, rated for tinnitus and hearing loss only. Yeah. I would like to see your evidence for insomnia and anxiety. I would do anxiety secondary to tinnitus personally. I would leave insomnia out. Let the VA do what the VA is going to do. But anxiety secondary to tinnitus is a better claim, so to speak. Unless your evidence for insomnia is much, much better, then I would just do both, secondary to tinnitus. They are going to be rated together, but let the VA do what the VA needs to do with that. Feel free, and I think you emailed me before, but feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to help you out. Sadiq says, what's up, Clay? What's up? Can I submit a supplemental claim online, or it has to be mailed fax? You can do it online. Yeah, so I have the quick submit video. You can do it that way. That's the old way. When I say old, I mean they just did supplementals online. You can do a supplemental claim online right now. I should actually delete that supplemental video with quick submit. But you can do it online. It's super easy. Okay. I actually need one of my friends to log in so I can record his screen and show you how to do a supplemental online. It's super easy. Go to va.gov, look up supplemental claim. There's like 10 links that'll get you there. It's wild. Eventually, you'll get to filing a supplemental claim online. Go through the questions. Super easy. That's all you got to do. If you want to upload evidence for that, that's when I'd use quick submit. But yeah, you can do it online. If you are OG and you want to mail it or fax it in, and some people prefer that way, you can do that. But you could do a supplemental claim. You could go there right now, do the supplemental claim, and be back in like 10 minutes. Come back to the stream. Okay. Please like the stream. It's something I always forget to request, but it's the only thing that helps me out is when people watch videos and when people like the video. So if you like this stream, help me out. Give me a like. I'd appreciate that. It also helps other veterans get exposed to this live stream. Good evening. What up? Is a ACE exam after my CNP exam a good thing? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's good or bad. That's irrelevant. It just means that something was missed or the VA found something and needed clarification. And now you have an ACE exam for something really small or something that can be reviewed via evidence only. All right. Holy baloney. Chris, I'm sorry. I got to change the bottom scrolling. Chris Yates, thank you very much. D Lover Land, $50. Guys, make me feel really awkward when this happens. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much. 250s back to back. That's wild. He says, thanks for this, Simplify. David L. Overland. Hey, I appreciate that. Simplify Dallas to you too. I was in the Marine Corps from 11 to 21. My last 2 years were reserves. They don't really count. But hey, appreciate that. Man, solid. I got to change the scroll bar now. I have to. I started this. Now I have to. The Lover Land. It's hilarious. All right. The Lover Land. Might as well just continue that tradition for today. Seriously, Chris and D Lover and everyone else, I appreciate that very, 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 very much. Let's get back to where we were, which was way up. With Ray McCarty. That's the only bad thing about StreamYard is scrolling up and down in comments. Okay, here we are, Ray. Where's the best place to get the diagnosis for IBS, private or VA? Well, depends on your access, okay? I did make a video about this. I'll actually plug it in the chat right now. But I'll give you a synopsis version of that, okay? VA is free, so that's always a good option. Free is good. Private is always going to be, I don't care what topic we're talking about, private is always going to be the government, always. So if you're looking for a quick diagnosis, like a colonoscopy for IBS, and you have the symptoms and you have the evidence, private is going to be much faster. If you go to the VA for diagnosis, what that's going to look like is you talk to your primary care the first time about IBS. What's probably going to happen is they're going to prescribe you medication. VA is very, very quick at medications, okay? They just kind of throw medications at veterans and assume problems are going to get better. That's a whole other topic. But you'll get medication. Your primary care will want you to take them. And then about a month or two, they'll ask you questions on your IBS symptoms from the medication. And depending on those answers, if it helped or not, then you might be given a colonoscopy and an official diagnosis of GI issues of IBS, really. That's time consuming, right? So it definitely depends. And do you even have access to private insurance, right? Because if you don't, it's irrelevant. You got to go through the VA. That's why the intent to file is so important, to use that entire year or use however much time you need to get the evidence. Seymour Breezy says, does Quick Submit blanket to all open claims? Is that why upload labels are helpful in guiding rater? Upload labels, and I think you're referring to the video I made on that, is an organizational tool, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for the rater at the VA to read and orient them on your claim. And so the easier you make their job for them, the better off your decision is going to be, I promise. Make it easy for them. If you have the ability to label, highlight, absolutely do that. That's what I'd recommend. To answer your question, if it's blanket to all open claims, yes. You'll hit the category, it'll say compensation, and that's what that would go for. First time filing testicular cancer in 9. Send me an email. I have so many questions for you. It is your first time filing. I would love to help you out. First timers are my favorite veterans to help out. Okay, if I had a favorite, definitely send me an email. I would appreciate that. All right, looking at Kaylin Johnson. What's up? Should I bring my Nexus letter to my CMP? I have CMP exam for sinusitis this week. People are also going to disagree with me on this one too. I'm going to say no, right? Now I'll tell you why. We had a CMP examiner on stream answering questions. After that stream, they had requested that I deleted that stream because they were afraid they said too much. Okay. Which is fine. I went ahead and fulfilled that. Okay. Out of respect. And basically, I say all that because CMP examiners can only review what the VA sends them. All right. Now, can you bring it with you? Absolutely. Does your CMP examiner have the time to read your entire medical opinion? Maybe. But if you want to bring a copy of it and just present it and say, hey, I have this, you absolutely can. I would not be upset if they say no. Okay. Because they're really only supposed to review the evidence the VA sends them. Now, assuming the VA sent them your IMO, hopefully they just concur with the medical opinion. Hopefully that's the plan, right? Holy shit. Miguel, 3 back-to-back. Dude, I don't even know what to... I don't know. I appreciate this very much. Thank you very much. Very, very much. I don't even know what to say. I feel awkward. Miguel, D-Lover, Chris, thank you very much. Let's see if you got some you want me to answer. What's up, Miguel? He says, thanks for this. Oh, no, that's D-Lover. Let's go down to Miguel. Okay, here we go. Keep the info coming. Won my claim so far using 38 CFR and M21. There we go. Hey, Miguel, thank you very much. Seriously, I'm glad to see that you informed and educated yourself, and now you are winning your claims. That's what we like to see. That's what it's all about. The you don't knows always make me feel awkward. I apologize. Thank you. Seriously, I appreciate that, brother. More than you could ever imagine. Wow. 3 of them back to back, dude. Big whopperoos. Ooh, I need to hold on. I started this stream. I need to make sure I do it right. Miguel with an I. Thank you, Miguel. Appreciate that, brother, so much. Let's get that rolling. All right. I'll do my best to keep the info coming. I got some news to share. I'm not going to share it tonight, but should be sharing it here pretty soon. All right. Jorge Bautista says, is there a website or resource to find good VSOs to work with? There's an OGC website. You can find VSOs. I don't know about good VSOs. Can you work with a VSO outside your state? Yes, I'm in Alaska. I'll tell you this. I help Delkay Graham Veteran Foundation. I also make videos on their YouTube channel. We do live streams on that channel as well. They are an accredited VSO. They're reaching out nationally. And so that's who I'd recommend you use. I'm going to link you their website. All you have to do is click this website. Click Start a Claim, fill out the intake form, upload your DD-214, and they'll take care of the rest. Okay, but if you want an accredited VSO, that's honestly the only one I would recommend is Delkay Graham Veteran Foundation, because I know they are solid. What's my next move after my doctor got my x-rays for my back and said I have mild, moderate damage where I need more evidence to increase from 10? Yeah, so you already have the service connection. And so more diagnoses would help that. But at the end of the day, and you already know, it's going to be based on range of motion. I have daily back pain with terrible range of motion. So depending on how terrible, it's relative, right? And so something that people don't talk about that often on back is the VA will look at your relative range of motion. I'm going to use my hands here. They'll look at your relative range of motion. So I am about to be 31. Okay, I'm a young buck. My range of motion, generally speaking, is better than someone who's 70 years old, right? And so that's relative range of motion. And so if your relative range of motion is terrible and has decreased, based on this comment alone, I would absolutely file for an increase. And it looks like it's going to be favorable. Holy dude. Storm Vet and Orange. Both of these veterans just recently got 100%. Congrats to you, and thank you very much. I so appreciate this. This is absolutely wild. I don't even know what to do right now. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you. Storm Vet says, Clay, thanks, brother, for what you do. I have a few more questions. I'll send an email. Hey, send them, and I will absolutely get to it without a doubt. Orange, welcome to the stream. I look forward. So I'll be meeting Orange in real life once my hats and my shirts come in. More to follow on that. I'm not really going to push it too hard. I just ordered a few, so we'll see how that goes. Orange, thank you very much. Storm Vet, thank you very much. I will definitely get to those emails. And on that note, now I have to do this twice. So hopefully I remember. Storm Vet, I think, is your... Yep, there we go. All right, we'll leave that up there, then we'll swap it around. Dude, wild, man. Wild. That's 5 back-to-back. 5 big smackers. Holy shit. Appreciate that. Okay. Brothers, thank you, Clay, for all of your information. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. Why do VSOs don't explain to active duty members going through MEB that they can claim secondary issues for things seen for due? Yeah, okay. First, VSOs are not in the med board process at all. Okay. You'll have a Peblo, and that's kind of like the coordinator. Tomorrow, I'm doing a podcast with one of my friends who was med boarded recently and is looking at CRSCs. He's going to be talking about his IDES claim process. And IDES is what you do if you're med boarded. So more to follow on that. But yeah, man, VSOs aren't out here educating active duty service members about VA claims at all, especially secondaries. That would be like advanced VA claims, if you will. The DoD has a transition assistance program, or TAPS, which I think is absolute dog shit, if I'm going to be real about it. But yeah, man, that's kind of how it goes, dude. It kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And when I say kind of, I mean a lot. Carlos 210 says, my buddy did not go to his CMP exam for PTSD. The VA gave him 100% based off his own Dr. Nexus letter. Yeah, he probably had a board-certified psychiatrist write a very, very strong, compelling, independent medical opinion with a DBQ. And most importantly, your buddy had the evidence to support that. Okay, and so you have those 3 elements there. Absolutely, you can choose to not go to your CMP exams. Is it a bit risky? Yes, but it really comes down to if you know your evidence is strong and if you know your IMO and DBQ are complete. All right, let me change this real quick to orange remediation before I forget. Remind me not to do this next time, but I'll do it today. No big deal. All right, Jorge again says, I didn't know I could claim my left leg, hip, knee, ankle pain, right leg. Yeah, that sucks. Absolutely. You could have done it direct, to be honest with you. Because if you have those problems in service, those are direct. Although something else would have caused it, that's not rated at that moment in time. And if you had that diagnosis and the evidence, you can just do it direct. Jerry Lucas, RN, disabled veteran, 9/11. Hey, I assume you're a nurse. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate that. I filed a supplemental for sleep apnea. Secondary to PTSD, had a Nexus. The Nexus was from a specialist in PTSD. What is a specialist in PTSD? Are we talking about a psychologist with a PhD? And of course, their evidence was better than mine. Yeah, tons of questions here. I want to know what a specialist in PTSD actually is. What you really want is that you want someone that went to med school if you're talking about PTSD. On the DBQ, and I'll actually show you just so you don't think I'm crazy. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about on why this matters. Stats 38 CFR, VA DBQ. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Share this tab instead. Sure. So this is where you'll find DBQs at. Let's look for mental health. Did I pass it? No, I'm in the RP psychology. Here we go. Mental disorders. Pull this bad boy up. Should I click PTSD? Yeah, let's do PTSD. Boom. Oh, ain't as bigger. Okay. Can you see this? All right. Mental health professionals with the following credentials are qualified to perform and review CMP exams for mental disorders. They are, and here's the list. And so if your person does not fall into this, they basically wasted their time. I hate to say it like that, but that's pretty much happened. That's pretty much what it is. And up at the top, board certified psychiatrist. That is the mamma jamma. Okay. So back to your question, because I want there's more to that than what I had said. Oh, there's no question. I'm assuming your supplemental was denied. If not, was it approved? Is it ongoing? What's that look like? All right, looking at Charles A. My CMP for migraines were labeled as less likely as not. That sucks. Still waiting on official decision. That decision is going to be not service connected, by the way. I did 2 tours in Iraq. Wouldn't that be classified presumptive Gulf War illness? No. Well, excuse me, maybe. It would be under an MUCMI, and it could be, okay? And the examiner will have to give their opinion on that as well. So you're less likely as not could be a result of a secondary, for instance. But this still, and you'll have 2 decisions on that decision letter for migraines, and say, hey, we looked at TERA, blah blah blah. You are a Gulf War veteran, blah 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 blah, and then it'll give that Nexus as well. So there's going to be 2 different ones: medical in nature and presumptive in nature. I'll tell you this: migraines presumptive as an MUCMI is not common. Okay, not common at all. Secret sauce. Thank you. Appreciate that. Joe, how much evidence is enough for mental health? Well, you need an in-service event and a current diagnosis. In-service event meaning something in service had caused that condition. Current diagnosis meaning within 1 year at a minimum. My doctor said it's only a temporary diagnosis and wait for more appointments. When I first talked to the nurse, she said moderate for sleep. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, that's the current. I still want to know what your in-service event looks like, but as of based on that, that's good. Of course, their evidence was no evidence, but they said mine was inadequate. Yeah, I would like to know, Jerry, who did your medical opinion? Feel free to email that to me, okay? I love ripping apart Nexus letters, but I would love to see that and to see who wrote it specifically, because the VA is very particular on PTSD claims. No fucking way, Stormbet. No way, dude. Another one, Stormbet? I don't even know what to say, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I go to Fayetteville. I assume you mean, Fayetteville or Springfield, Missouri. I go to Fayetteville, North Carolina. I don't think you're an hour away from that. Missouri's not on my list for my real job. Okay. But I'll tell you this. If you do want to support, I will cover the shipping for you. Don't worry about that. But if I ever am in Missouri for some reason, for my real job, I'll definitely hit you up. Oh, Fayetteville, that's right, Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas. Definitely not Arkansas. There's a bigger chance for me to go to Missouri than there is Arkansas. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Wild, dude. Wild. I have no words, Stormbet. Thank you very much. That's actually like your 4th or 5th donation too. Second of the night, but you've donated before in the past. I definitely appreciate that. Wow, dude. Wow. All right. let's get back on track here. Wow, dude, thank you so much. And that means I gotta go back. I gotta put some vet back on. Dang. Insane, dude. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate that. I'm glad it helped you. I'm glad that I hope that helps the financial burden on your life decrease just a little bit. All right, I have 70% for anxiety already, not PTSD. Thanks. No increase, just headaches, TMJ, lumbar, all secondary anxiety. Okay, talking about your comment earlier. S. Johnson says, hello, I use VACI for a successful claim. Hate to see this. I'm glad you got rated last year and wanted to try and do my next claim without them. That's a good idea. Okay. Do I need to do something to disassociate? Yeah, I would be extra cautious in severing that contract. I think you should be okay. I would read through that and just make it official, or just call them and say, hey, I don't want to use your services anymore, whatever. It shouldn't be a big deal at all, especially if you're doing it on your own. Good decision on your part. Would it be a good idea to claim a mental health as acquired mental health disorder instead of naming it depression? No, I would. Okay, my opinion. Anytime I'm recommending a veteran to submit for depression, anxiety, PTSD, whatever, I always recommend generally claiming mental health. Okay, the VA is going to do what the VA is going to do. So if you have symptoms and indications of PTSD, they're going to warrant you a PTSD exam. Okay, depression, anxiety is tied into that. The problem with claiming specific claims is you kind of pigeonhole yourself. So the CMP examiner, if not requested by the VA, doesn't have to look at insomnia, doesn't have to look at your indications for restless leg syndrome or anything else. They only have to look at what you claimed. And so broad claims are the way to go, in my humble opinion. Yeah, don't use them. Boo. Okay. Yeah, I'm forcing the VA to coin whatever the term that I have because I don't want them to come back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you having complaints and your indications and symptoms of and that's part of your medical evidence is pretty strong. Free Agent 97. I got custom shoes and inserts trying to increase flat fee from 10 to 50. Good chance. Yeah, you're already service connected. You're seeking treatment. I'm assuming they're not working. Absolutely. Submit the increase for sure. That's an easy one. Dun, dun, dun. I'd be more interested, last week on Delcate Graham's stream, someone had asked a question, and they were referring to not VA login info, but doing the remote desktop control. So for instance, I could control your desktop from where I'm at and submitting your claim for you. I thought that was the first time I heard that. I would love to hear more about that. I wasn't on that stream to kind of dig into that, but if that person is watching this, send me an email, please. All right. Is there a resource to find a good VSO? Oh, we talked about that. Thank you. In my supplemental, I've had 2 CMPs that are reviews of my chart, but nobody has given me any idea how long it's going to take. Yeah, there's no timeline associated with that. Generally speaking, for claims, I always recommend 120 to 150 days. And that's the high end. Could it be longer? Yes. Hopefully it's shorter. To be honest with you, my personal opinion on how long it's going to take, no one can answer it. So I would just not sweat it. I know that sucks to say, especially with anxiety, but it's out of our control, right? D Lover says, I appreciate the dono from earlier. Submitted a claim for insomnia due to chronic pain from a service-connected cervical injury. Turned in tons of evidence for insomnia. Wonder what the CMP exam will entail for this. Yeah, so they'll look at, I want to know if you've been diagnosed with insomnia. That's the first step. And insomnia, everyone talks about claiming insomnia. Insomnia It can be rated on its own, and I've seen it a lot. Insomnia is usually a symptom of something else, right? Like anxiety, for instance, PTSD, things like that. Yes, you can claim it on its own. So that standalone claim is not as common as being a symptom of something else. I was given 50% rating for PTSD MST. Yep, there we go. Looking at the most common MST ratings, I would say 70-50. Nasty Twin, I heard you say you cannot link sleep apnea to my PTSD. I didn't say that. But other people say you can claim it as secondary. Yeah, so one, I didn't say that. I'll tell you exactly what I said. There's a whole video on it on Del K. Graham's channel. I'm actually going to link that for you just because he said that. You can link sleep apnea to PTSD, and it is, I would consider it a common claim. What you can't do, okay, so this is Del K. Graham's channel. That's accredited VSO making YouTube videos. There is no causative link from PTSD to sleep apnea. So whoever telling you that there is not, okay? Now, the issue with that is, will physicians and psychiatrists, will some of them say this PTSD is, or sleep apnea is more likely than not connected to PTSD? Yes, and that's wrong for a more likely than not, because there's no causative link. Like radiculopathy to lumbar strain, causative, you can see it on a X-ray or MRI. You're looking at PTSD and sleep apnea, it's not causative at all, it's correlation. So now you have to look at multiple correlating factors. I don't want to get too deep into it, but some correlating factors are breathing in heavy particulates. I'll use my hands here. So heavy particulates are one. Medication is another, like gabapentin. Weight gain is another. If you can get your weight gain to be recognized by the VA, that's another. And then having multiple correlating service-connected disabilities like PTSD, other respiratory conditions, hypertension, weight gain, stuff like that. So with all those together, you could say sleep apnea is at least as likely as not connected to PTSD. So you can connect it. It's just not easy. It's not an easy claim at all. All right. Orange remediation, service connection is key, troops. There we go. Boom. Bobby D's. It's Samantha. Oh, okay. Hi. I love your name. I love this name way more. Well, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Haven't filed yet. I do see your email. I have to file by October. Wants me to try out for at least 3 months. Yeah, that's okay. You still want to get your claim in prior to that intent to file expiring, which is in October. I want to know what day in October. And remember, if you filed for intent to file October 3rd of last year, it expires the day before, so October 2nd of this year. But yeah, you're on the right track. I'll definitely get to your email at some point. Tony G says, just got rated for bilateral knee pain, can file secondary claim for hip pain. You can, given you have the evidence that suggests the secondary service connection. I have a secondary list I made, and hips are part of that. Happiness, filed in August in Idaho. I'll file. Oh, your claims, excuse me. Your claim is moving fast. They rated 2 claims in 2 weeks and scheduled all CMP exams and chest x-rays for PACT Act. 5 CMPs done already, a few to go. Hey, that's good. And you filed in August? Damn. That's very fast. Good for you. Awesome. Good to hear. I want to know if you filed any IMOs or DBQs with that, because that's really what will speed the process up. Jorge, do you see S1515 Retired Pay Restoration Act? I did not at all. But I will make a note of that. I'm not really a policy type dude. I tried to cover policy before. I'll tell you what, that veteran info tab dude, no one covers policy better than him. I don't know how he does it. He's on crack or something, but he's good. He has good stuff. MSY says, my military medical record has some headaches when I had acute symptoms, sinuses, sore throat, but not headache or migraine alone will be difficult to show service connection. No. Well, yes or no. There's a few factors I want to know is when did you leave service? What's that time gap like? But at a minimum, you have the in-service event. I'm assuming you could get or you have a current diagnosis for prostrating migraines now. And then again, looking at migraines, you want the big three as evidence, okay? You want a migraine log going back at least 6 months. You want to be on some kind of treatment plan, whether that's medication, injections, something. And then you want a statement detailing your prostrating symptoms to include your migraine log. And then once you have your migraine log established, you want to share that with your primary care, okay? Once you do that, that's the big ticket items for migraine claims. Do you review service members' service conditions to look at if they have medical issues? Not specific medical issues, but what I do, Jorge, is I help. If you want to email me, shoot me an email. I have a template, and I'll actually link. Oh, classic. I have another battery. Give me about 2 minutes. Okay, back to what I was saying. I have a cheat sheet that I'm going to link for you. My dog's down there. And you can send me an email, answer these questions. If you don't answer these questions, I'm going to ask you them anyways, and then we'll go from there. But I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat for you. Give that a peek. I'd appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. I was just reading the newest comment. It's not the extension. So looking at a power source, I went to the store to get a power source for my camera. They don't sell them anymore. So I have to contact Canon directly. And I don't want to aftermarket. Aftermarket pieces for tech stuff kind of sucks. And so now I have to contact Canon to get a power source for the camera that I can plug in. So I'm working on that. But yeah. All right. Wanda Davis says, I have 30% MDD with anxiety, distress, service connected. Would you recommend me filing for an increase? There's room for an increase. I don't know the details of the context of your symptoms. Okay. What I can do, and I'm linking a lot of videos today. I made a video of what 70% looks like. So if you have these symptoms or you come close to those symptoms, you could definitely be rated at 50 or 70. Okay. Potentially. I just linked that video in the chat for you. There's room for that. My number one question is, what are your symptoms? Okay. But I just linked the 70% video in that. So if that is you, definitely file the increase. I wouldn't recommend a DBQ or anything like that. And I hope you're seeking treatment. Seek treatment. Jorge says he has 11 service conditions currently. Hey, that sucks that you have so many, but it's good that you are rated. So I'd like to see that. How do you get rated for sinusitis? Yeah. That's one of the PACT Act presumptives. Now, it's not always going to be, the Nexus isn't always going to be presumptive. It can also be medical. So if you don't rate PACT Act, then you just need the big three, right? The in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the Nexus from a CMP examiner. If you are PACT Act, that's much easier. All you need is a current diagnosis, okay? And then meeting the time criteria for PACT Act locations. I'm assuming you'll go for a veteran, and that's it. And so how to get that diagnosis, just talk to your primary care. All my advice is going to start with that same sentence. Just talk to your primary care. It's crucial. Whether that's private or VA, I don't care. Just speak with them. Okay. Charles Williams says, what can I do if I found out I needed a sleep study back in 96 when I got out, but didn't have one until 2017? Okay. Because the VA doctor didn't tell me anything. I found out about it in my C file. So you got out in 96. You have a complaint about being recommended to get a sleep study done in 96. I think that's what you're saying. Technically, that is an in-service event. Now, ideally, for direct service connection of sleep apnea, especially on a very significant time gap, you would want a sleep study in service, but you have a complaint that is technically an in-service event. I think it's a weak in-service event, but it's there. You could try going direct. I'd also want to look at your service-connected conditions as well, and really put in a good argument for that sleep apnea claim. Sleep apnea is a coin flip, man. I've seen so many veterans with very, very similar background, similar evidence, be both connected and denied, especially when we're talking about secondaries. How do you fight an acute migraine evaluation from a CMP exam when service records show chronic headaches? Yeah, Jorge. So one, I want to know how long you've been out. You've asked a ton of questions, and I know you're already rated for 11 conditions. I want to know how long you've been out. Because my first answer, just like I said, is when was the last time you talked about migraines to your primary care at the VA or private insurance? Because the way to battle an acute diagnosis is to express your symptoms to your primary care, get that medical evidence, and show your prostrating migraines if you truly do have them. Okay, that's what I would recommend. USMC Big B says, got to drop and start getting ready for work tomorrow. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Why don't you recommend a DBQ for PTSD increases? I'll tell you why. Because DBQ increases are easy. Okay, especially if you have the medical evidence behind that and the treatment plan behind that. Can you? You absolutely can. There's no harm, no foul in it. But I'm not going to recommend someone reach out to Dr. Sharma for a DBQ on an increase. Okay. Now, if you want to, you absolutely can. I would not recommend it personally. And the reason why is because increases are easy. Okay. In a perfect world, you've been seeking treatment. You've talked to your psychologist, social worker, whoever about your symptoms. You have a paper trail of your symptoms getting worse. And then you submit the increase, you had the CMP exam, you do the same thing over again, and then boom, you have the increase. I wanted to turn in extremely explanatory, detailed information. Should we just make the IMO longer? So you definitely don't need a medical opinion. You don't need an Nexus letter at all. You're already service connected. Okay. If you are going to pay for anything, which I don't recommend, but if you are, it would be the DBQ. All right, Gregory, can you file for sleep apnea secondary to hypertension if the hypertension is service connected? You can, okay? So there's definitely a very strong link. I don't know if it's a causative relationship or just correlation, but I do know there's a strong link between hypertension and sleep apnea and vice versa, sleep apnea and hypertension. There's probably some other things going on there too, like anxiety or stress on the body. All of that would make at least a correlated relationship between your hypertension and sleep apnea. But yeah, you can. Everything, Lynn. I had to file a complaint against an examiner. Can this somehow affect my rating? No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It sucks that I don't know what you experienced, but I'm sure it sucked. But I'm glad you filed the complaints, okay? I think every single veteran that has a truly bad CMP exam experience needs to just hound the VA about how bad that experience was, and not make it feeling based, make it fact based. If we really want to change the culture of CMP exams. Robert Rodriguez says, thanks for all the great content. I'm all good. Thanks for your info. Hey, awesome. I appreciate that. I hope I'm all good means you're properly rated and you're good to go, brother. Thank you. Jorge Batista says, $5 donation. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. Let's go down and read. I'm still in service, awaiting retirement orders. Oh, are you going through a med board? Currently, multiple doctors still on my issues. PCM has issued me sumatriptan. Yeah, so sumatriptan is a very, very common medication for migraines. So medication is one, right? You're still going to show that migraine log. And then for migraines is one of those claims I would personally do a statement for, just detailing your symptoms, how often you have migraines, and when you take your medication. But I assume you're going through a med board. Awesome. I am going to highlight one comment here. On mental health exams, know the DBQ and jot down which of the symptoms you have. Absolutely. Psych doc. Yep, for sure. And actually to show you how to get there, we got some, we're not doing it. Whatever. We're here now, but I'll show you how to get there on your own. Go to the Googles, make sure it's working. Let me unhide that, get back to where I was. Okay, so we're on the Googles. VA, DBQ, boom, here we go. I think you said PTSD specifically, but all the DBQs are here. Go down to psychological, and you'll have mental disorders and PTSD review. We'll just click PTSD. And what he's talking about, read through all of this. This is the rating, so to speak. There's a list of symptoms. That's PTSD specific. Clinical findings, section 2. Here we go. Symptoms, stop or 4. And so, whoa, look at all these symptoms. Look at all these chickens, okay? And you can look at this prior to going into your CMP exam for your increase. That's what that looks like. Solid advice. Okay, I saw another live that a big symptom for PTSD and TBI suffers as being physically capable to make themselves a meal, but motivational incapable. That's a huge aha moment. It could be, okay? Some other symptoms of mental health that are kind of low key is grooming standards, actually. Not dressing appropriately for whatever the occasion is, like wearing sweatpants and a hoodie all the time, not brushing your teeth, maybe showering every 2-3 days. All of those are symptoms of a underlying mental health condition for sure. What he said, be sure to hit the like button and share the channel. I would definitely appreciate that. Likes help this channel. That's how YouTube recommends its average view duration and then people liking the video. So I definitely appreciate that. When are you headed back to Austin? I'm about 2.5 hours from Austin and would really like to sit down and absorb your knowledge. I don't know yet, but I can tell you I will be back there. When I do, I'll definitely keep tabs on my community page, okay? I love this thing over here. People joke on me. Some people have told me to get a Twitter account. I tell them to eat rocks. But on my community tab, if I ever travel somewhere, I always put something up in here. Look, say boo, you suck. And so keep tabs on that, okay? As I travel, if you want to meet me in person and go over your claims, I'm absolutely willing to do that. Now, I don't do anything for you. I wanted that to be very clear. I will just talk to you about your claims. Everything I do is free. Don't worry about it. We'll have a coffee or beer, whatever you prefer. Don't matter. All right. Wit says, requested my claims URC file in December. Got it in June. So that's about the going rate. The only thing on it is 3 CMP exams from 09-23. So your C file should have everything the VA looked at to make the decision on your claims. Okay. It's weird that there's only 3 CMP exams. You should have got a disc. Okay. Did you do that through VERA? Some veterans reach out to VERA to do FOIA requests of specific CMP exams. That's very common. I think it's a bit overkill in my opinion, but you can do it. All right. Narvi, can you have SMCS and SMCK at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. Completely different. SMCS is housebound, if I'm correct. Okay. Is there a resource to find a good VSO to work with? Already, we answered that, Jorge. I'm going to recommend Del K. Graham Veterans Foundation. I know they are good. Okay, they're really going to push fully developed claims. I received 90% rating for my medical retirement. Preparing to file for secondaries. Want to ensure I submit everything I need to get 100%. Yeah, if you want to use if you want me to recommend you a VSL, I'm going to recommend Del K. Graham. You can go to their website. I'll plug it in the chat now for you. Click on Start a Claim. They're an accredited VSO. They're great. They're good people. That's what I'd recommend. Okay. I'm waiting to file for an earlier effective date of... Oh, I see that. Okay. You want to file effective date? May you talk a little bit about Social Security disability for VA? Jojo, if I did, it would be ill-advised. That's another thing I'm looking at, is I'm trying to find someone who's willing to talk about Social Security, who's an expert. The only thing I can talk about it from a VA perspective is if you are 100%, you have an expedited process. Whatever that means, I have no idea. But yeah, a lot of people do it. I didn't know we could email you. Can you give the email address again? Oh, easy peasy, right there. Right there, brother. TheCivDiv@gmail.com. What can I do to get someone else's records removed from my C file? Are you talking about private healthcare? Because the VA's already got that, man. If you didn't want the VA to have that private healthcare record, that sucks. As far as getting something removed, to be honest with you, I don't even know if that's possible. Because you would be going against a doctor's notes. I could be wrong. I just don't think that's possible. Oh, we got 2 more. Did I miss one? Lil Man Mo, what's up? Okay, let's go to Lil Man Mo's question. And then Jorge, I see you again. Oh no, Jorge, you're good. Don't even sweat it at all. You're good, one by one. Yeah. So those that donate, I obviously answer those questions as fast as I can, but I will answer every single one given the time. All right. I appreciate that. Appreciate both of you, by the way. Thank you. Can you talk about the steps on active duty membership take to ensure the claims process goes smooth and in favor of the member? Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about timelines. I'm going to do 3 really important timelines. One is 1 year out. When you are 1 year out, you need to make sure that you listen. You already did your service. Okay, the service is there. Now you're in it for yourself. You have to prepare to transition from military to civilian. And the key of that is going to be going to medical for what hurts. If your knees hurt, if you get migraines, if you're depressed or you're anxious or you have PTSD from your deployments or whatever the case may be, talk to your provider. Go talk to doc, your BAS, your beta aid station, talk to your clinic, whatever that looks like. If you want to go private, you can actually absolutely go private if you want. But start gathering evidence 1 year out. Think of every condition from head to toe. Your head, look at mental health, migraines, look at your tinnitus, hearing loss, Meniere's, vertigo, look at your respiratory conditions, rhinitis, sinusitis, your polyps, look at sleep apnea, how you breathe, asthma, COPD, look at your jaw, your dental conditions, your eyes, okay? And then do that methodically throughout your whole body. So your neck, your shoulders, your nerves in your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your fingers, and then so on and so forth. Whatever hurts, just go complain about it. Okay. You want the diagnosis, but you don't need one. A complaint will go a long way in service. And that's 1 year out. This is a very long answer for this don't know. So I hope you appreciate this. When you're 6 months out, 180 to 90 days, you can submit a BDD claim. I'd recommend doing it on the 180th day. And once you submit, so wherever you complain about at that 1 year mark, you take those, list them out, and you put those on a claim. That's what you claim. Mental health, tinnitus, shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, hip pain, foot pain, whatever. Then you prepare for your CMP exams. Okay. Now let's say you absolutely missed the mark because you can't plan well, and now you're just here. So once you leave service, within 1 year is like the golden era, if you will. You need to really make a list about what you believe came from service and what you're suffering from, and submit that claim within that first year. And that's pretty much your answer. Yeah, that's how you do it. Medical evidence is king. Every single time, medical evidence is going to win. Every single time. Okay. This is a long stream, but we're just chilling. I'll probably hop off here soon. I'm at 88%. Just received my mental health rating of 30 last month, but I can't stay employed. Is it worth going for an increase to get to 100? Okay, one, if you just received it and now you can't stay employed, I want to know. I'm assuming you didn't speak about your symptoms as they are during your exam. Okay. I want to know what your treatment is for your mental health, because if you are unemployable, that sucks. Okay. I want to know if you even qualify for TDIU. Just off of this comment alone and not knowing any context whatsoever, assuming you can get more evidence to disagree with that decision, it'd be a supplemental claim. Assuming you already had the evidence and for some reason it was missed, would be a higher level review. And I would do that now. I would absolutely do that now. Feel free to email me. I have so many questions for you, Project Pat, TheCivDiv@gmail.com. Thanks. We'll contact his office tomorrow. Oh yeah. Yeah, that. Now, I'm not a fan of accredited attorneys, just to be real with you. But if you are going to go that route, make sure they're accredited. Okay. If you're going before a judge, then that's when I will recommend an attorney. And this, I don't have a partnership with them. I'm not affiliated with them in any manner at all. For that email I sent earlier, is definitely someone I would recommend. Okay. Now, hopefully he changes that mindset, but we'll see. Evan says, can improvement of disability open you up for a reduction? Absolutely. Yeah. If you have evidence, okay. Now, I think your P&T, I can't remember if you had mentioned your P&T earlier in the stream or not. If you are, don't worry about it. If you're not, and that condition is not static, it'd be reevaluated at some point. They're going to see that evidence, and that's about it. So the answer is yes. That answer is yes. Goody, dude, you did not have to do that. Appreciate that. Guys, this is a real life friend of mine who was here this weekend. Goody, appreciate that. You did not have to do that. I feel like I should pay you back. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. All right. Jeffrey Buchanan says, I want to do a notify about a claim I want to make. How do I do that to log in the site? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to link a video for you. It's a step-by-step process of submitting a claim. The very first 2-3 minutes is just the intent to file. Once you start a claim, it'll ask you, are you active duty? You just answer 2 or 3 more questions. Once you get through that first phase, it will tell you that you have an intent to file, and it will give you your date. It's going to be 1 year from now. But that is how you do an intent to file. Super, super easy. That's how it rolls. Happiness with a $10 donation. Dude, thank you all so much. I definitely appreciate this. Thanks for date night live with my hubby. Hey, if I'm a part of your date night, that's awesome. Tell your husband I said what's up. Please say your wife has your back, dude, and you're lucky she loves you so much. Thanks, Clay. You're the best. Hey, Happy NES is in my emails on behalf of this hubby I'm speaking to. She's on it, okay? She's absolutely on it. She's always on my live streams. I definitely see you all the time. I see your comments. I appreciate that. Liking my videos, commenting on my videos, all that stuff matters. It comes in clutch. Thank you. Appreciate that. Benny says, I know a vet that needs help. Well, I know a channel you should refer them to, and I'll be glad to help them out. Absolutely. Let's go till 11:15, right? Eastern time, so it's 10:56 now. About 20 more minutes, and then we'll call it. Ashley says, I got hired as a VSR out of New York, and I'm excited. Hey, congrats to you, okay? Someone earlier was asking about positions within the VA, which I am not the person to ask about. But look at that. We got one right here. Do good work, Ashley. Do good work, okay? I'm sure you will. All right. I've been waiting since March with the DBQ and Nexus from Dr. Sharma. So it's not a guarantee of a quick turnaround. No, not at all. Nothing to do with this paperwork. Everything to do with the rater that adjudicated it. Yeah, could be. Tons of factors like your evidence, what that looks like. Where's it at? There's a backlog. That's a factor. Okay. Tons of factors there. Georgia Boy 78. Keep me updated on that, because I definitely want to have a pulse on what that timeline's like. So when you do hear something back, send me an email. IBS can be a presumptive for OIF veterans. Yes, it can. It can. Absolutely. You have the diagnosis. At a minimum, if you can't get the diagnosis, at a bare minimum, a complaint to your primary care and a treatment plan, like medication. Really, you want the diagnosis, then go ahead and submit that. But yes, to answer in short, yes. Jeremy Richardson, $10 donation. Dude, thank everyone here. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. He says nothing. Oh, here we go. CivDiv, thanks for all you do. Thank you. I appreciate it. You've learned a lot. You've learned a ton. That's the whole purpose of this channel. Retiring in July. Congrats to you. Submitting BDD in February. Office in Korea told me all claims will be primary due to... Yeah, exactly. What's different about BDD claims? Essentially, you can file a claim on active duty. That's the big difference, right? Theoretically speaking, what should happen is you get a paycheck from the DoD one day, you leave service, you get, for the person that asked the IBS question, here's a better answer. You leave the DoD one day, you're a civilian, you get a VA check the next. That's what is the idea behind BDD claims. As far as what makes them different, okay, is just like you were advised, your secondaries are just going to be direct, okay? Don't think about that too hard. The Nexus is easy. Plus, you have, look, I'm assuming 20 years or enough to be medically retired. Your evidence is going to be solid. Generally speaking, retirees have an easier time with VA disability, and that's just my opinion. That's not fact-based at all. You have nothing to worry about. You're retiring. It seems like you're on top of everything. You should be. You're doing a BDD claim. Everything looks good. I won't worry about that. If you have a question, though, definitely shoot me an email at any point in time. BDD claims are super easy, and I love helping first-time veterans. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Boom shakalaka on the... do we have another one? We did. I knew I missed one. Hold on. Jorge again with the $2. Just sent you an email. All right, I'll get to it. I have 74 emails now. But yes, absolutely. Let's go back up to the tops here. So many questions today. Hey, if there's no questions, there's no live stream, so I appreciate that. Reserves don't count. That's what the VBA says. They're not wrong, okay? Not that I agree with this, but the VA is they're a lot harder on reserves and guard, right? Especially if you're not on Title 10 orders. You're on Title 10 and active duty, same. You're on a weekend drill and you roll your ankle. Anytime I'm talking to a reservist or a guard, the main theme I want to push is being proactive about your evidence. It's much easier to get an LOD right there on the spot than it is 3 years down the road, okay? So be proactive on the evidence. You roll your ankle, go to medical, go see doc, whatever that looks like for you. In that instance, get the LOD in that instance, okay? It's a proactive thing instead of being reactive. That's a problem with VA claims and veterans is everyone is reactive, okay? Because we don't go to medical when you're in service. And so now you're playing catch up and you're already fighting an uphill battle. So it sucks. Got to that. Appreciate that. Miguel, thank you very much. Appreciate that from earlier. Dwayne Mohammed says, CNP for prostate cancer, examiner language at least as likely. That's good. More than likely for Tara. That's even better. But no decision in the inside. Yeah. It seems like it's going to be presumptive. Don't worry about that at all. As far as timeline goes, can't answer that. But you got it. You have it at least as likely, more than likely looking at Tara toxic exposure. So good. Good for you. Sucks on the cancer part, okay, but I'm glad you're rated. Do you need a CMP for loss of reproductive organ? It depends. We're talking about SMCKs. Generally speaking, very general here. Generally speaking, your evidence should hold its weight. A great example of this is if you're doing ED secondary to mental health medications. Most of those are going to be ACE reviews, which is technically a CMP exam, but looking at evidence, right? So your evidence should really tell the story there. That's what you're aiming for. I need to put my chair up. Oh, so I'm in frame all the way. Okay. Been out of frame this whole stream. All right. This channel is elite, premium relative to others. Thank you. I appreciate that. Speaking on YouTube stuff, just because whatever, I got time. I've been working so hard to do better on YouTube. I just updated my thumbnails. So if you like them, okay, let me know. I spent a shitload of time. I try not to say bad words, but I really did spend a lot of time. But check these thumbnails out. Am I sharing that? Okay, here we go. I'm trying to do better at the YouTubes. Okay. Here are my thumbnails. I've updated every single one of these were updated last night to 5 in the morning this morning. I haven't updated the ones below this. This is what they used to look like. I'm trying to do better at the YouTubes, dude. Because if you're following other YouTubers, you know I'm down at the bottom. I'm a small boy. I'm trying to change that. In a biased way, I do think I give the best information, though. Okay. Let's look at what do we got? Caesar Correa. It's 11:05. 10 more minutes. Thanks for what you do. Thank you. Appreciate that. Question: what is the best way to go about asking a VA neurologist for a migraine diagnosis, secondary to tinnitus, have an appointment? Yeah, so just to be technical here, you're not going to get diagnosed migraine secondary to tinnitus. You'll get diagnosed migraines. In the VA records, that's probably going to look like an SCT code, Sierra Charlie Tango. And in your blue button report, what you really want is that ICD, the International Classification for Diseases. I'm kind of getting into the weeds a bit. I'll roll back. During that appointment, what you want to do is talk about your tinnitus. Hey, don't lie. If it doesn't apply to you, don't do it. Hey, when my tinnitus really flares up, it's been getting worse. That's what causes me to have migraines. My tinnitus lasts however long. And that puts me into a prostrating migraine, and here are my symptoms, right? And so now you're suggesting to your neurologist that tinnitus is causing your migraines. And you have an ER visit. And so an ER visit would be a perfect time to say that. Branding, Stalding. I'm getting ready to submit a claim for degenerative disease of the cervical spine. Okay. When should I tag on the secondary conditions? Yeah. So this goes for not specifically this one, but for every claim. You can submit a secondary on something you don't have service connected yet, but you submitted a claim for. You can do that. The only time I'd recommend that is when you have the evidence. Okay. So if you have the evidence that shows radiculopathy in your left and right lower extremities from your sciatica nerve, that would be a time to do that. Okay. Now it is a part of that DBQ for the back. But as we know, not every C&P examiner goes through the entire DBQ, especially for radiculopathy on claims of the spine, especially for cervical spine. Or if it's nerve damage in your arms, in your shoulders. Okay, if you have that evidence. So the answer to your question is, if you have the evidence, submit the claims. If you don't, take advantage of the intent to file. You have a whole year, get the evidence, submit everything in one go. Orange says he's late cooking on the grill. Hey, it is Labor Day. Simplify Marines into you, sir. Thanks for streaming. Hey, I appreciate that. Simplify to you too. I just got 30% for migraines. I feel it should be higher. Would it be too soon to submit a new claim for increase? No, not too soon. It would be a supplemental. I would do a supplemental, to be honest with you, with new evidence. If you think your current evidence that you submitted would push you to 50, then do a higher level review. Now, we'll say for migraines, okay, there's 3 big ticket items I always push for migraines. 1, you want some kind of treatment plan, whether that's medication, injections, something, okay? 2, you want a migraine log, and in that log, talk about how often you take your medication and your symptoms of your migraines. Key part here is share that migraine log with your primary care. I'm going to say that again. Share that migraine log with your primary care And then 3 is that personal statement detailing your symptoms. Okay. And that's what I recommend for a migraine claim, because far too often do migraines come back at 0. Yours is at 30, which is good. If you want to push for 50%, you say a statement. It says, I feel it should be higher. I want you to say, I know it should be higher, because we know we are educated veterans, right? That's what this channel is for. We know how to find out how the VA rates migraines. And so looking at that, this is Delkay Graham's website. Looking at how the VA rates migraines, instead of saying I feel, we can go find out for sure. This is what we do. So let's just word search migraines. It'll come up. Here we go. 8100 is the code. With so this is you right now, with characteristic prostrating attacks occurring on average once a month over the last several months. This is 50. Is very frequent, completely prostrating and prolonged attacks, productive of severe economic and adaptability. And so if you know this is you, then yes. Okay. If this is you, but you don't have the evidence, then get the evidence. All right. That's how we do that. That is how we do that. Did anyone say something? Yeah, 50% is definitely not. It's not an easy migraine claim to get 50%. It's definitely possible, okay? But it's not it's not feeling based. Okay. Let's look at where are we at right now. Timestamp 11/11. The analyst, hello Clay, hello back. I need to binge watch most of your videos, but can you tell me if you suggest an organization that will help produce a Nexus letter? Tons of questions. Okay. I don't recommend IMOs or DBQs to veterans until I speak with them first, because 9 times out of 10, you don't need one. Because it's the dilemma, right? There's a dilemma in Nexus letters, because if you have one, you need to have the evidence for the provider to make the Nexus in the first place. Without evidence, there's no Nexus. Now, the sketchy thing is, will some providers still write the Nexus? Yes, they will. And then you're down $1,000, right? And what brings up the dilemma, I kind of got off track there. The dilemma is you need the evidence for a private IMO DBQ. But if you have the evidence, logically speaking, a C&P examiner should be able to make that connection as well. Now, we know that's not always the case, but that's the dilemma, right? And so there's usually 2 criteria I want you to hit before I recommend IMOs and DBQs. That's you've been denied and you have the evidence. Now, can you submit those up front? You absolutely can. And if that's what you want to do, I'll support you in that. But I at least want to give you your options prior to just jumping straight out there, right? So send me an email, the analyst, TheCivDiv@gmail.com. I'll pop it up in the chat. I'd love to speak with you on that. Yeah, sometimes I have to watch myself talking about IMOs and DBQs a bit, because they cost money, you know, and they're generally not cheap. All right, Scott22V, what's up? If one was born with a cleft lip and a palate and has difficulty breathing through his nose and gets service connected for sinusitis, would that be aggravating a pre-existing condition? I don't know enough about cleft lips to honestly speak on that. But I can tell you that this person is service connected for sinusitis, so that's solid. You're referencing a CPAP, so I assume you're talking about sleep apnea. So I think the question is, can you get rated for sleep apnea? Yes, you can. the elephant in the room is, can the VA use a pre-existing condition to debunk your sleep apnea claim, so to speak? That answer is yes. Okay. I don't know enough about cleft flip to really challenge that, but it seems logical. But you are service connected for sinusitis, and as long as your sinusitis is showing more of a causative relationship or multiple correlating factors for sleep apnea, then that's a stronger claim. Okay. I want to know if this person has other correlating factors to sleep apnea. What's their service? Are they service connected for anxiety, like stress? That's one. Are they on medication like gabapentin? That'd be another. Are they obese? Did they gain weight? Because absolutely the VA, just like the cleft lip, the VA will look at sleep apnea and say, well, you got it from being overweight, which is perfectly logical. So it definitely just depends on that. All right, but with that said, I'm going to end the stream on Scott's question. Thank you very much for coming out. This was not a planned stream at all. I'm having difficulties planning streams out, actually. So my whole computer just froze. That was bad. All right, doesn't matter. Hey, sinusitis for under PACT Act. Yeah, so there's heavy particulates in there, and you have at least two. So based off of that, you have two correlating factors, which is good, right? More strength to your argument. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to end the stream with our video. If you want your photo featured on the stream, please send it to me. I don't need context or anything, no PII, nothing at all. And I will include your photos into the stream. I still have 2 people that have sent me their photos. I'll include those later on. But here it is.
Whiskey 9 Yankee 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9 7 November interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 Claw, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5 right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, reference to your last, you're granted 158 extra box stop time at 1200 between teams and local. Also request your unit take extra records to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for pause with the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf. My unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in here.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9 Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9 Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 Claw, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.